World Kiswahili Day is celebrated on the 7th of July every year following a declaration by UNESCO member states. Kiswahili is one of the most widely spoken languages in Africa and the most widely spoken in sub-Saharan Africa, and is also the only African language that is an official language of the African Union. Now let's discuss this. We're now joined via Zoom by Munene Nyaga, a radio personality whose prowess in Kiswahili presentation. Thank you so much, Munene, for joining us this afternoon. How important is this day? And I mean, of course it's significant, just given what I read in my introduction about the importance of the language itself being one of the most widely spoken, language in Africa.
Well, I think, first of all, we would like to appreciate the fact that there has been a push for many years for us to preserve our culture. And culture is specifically preserved through language. And the best way to actually do this is to ensure that the generations that come after us are able to express themselves in a language that they easily understand, is accessible. And the fact we are now celebrating the fact that even as early as yesterday, Uganda declared that it's going to be compulsorily taught in school as a subject. And here in Kenya, we have it as one of the official languages, meaning that any communication that you have, as far as government is concerned, has to be done in both languages, both English and Swahili. Also, I think just looking at the history of the continent, between the Anglophone and the Francophone colonial countries, there has been an attempt to try and regain our self-belief. And one of the things that we have been trying to ask for is for us to speak our own language, just like the Germans would do it, just like the Chinese would do it, just like the Spanish would do it, because our language is our heritage.
Very important. Now, of course, we know, I mean, as you say, every year numerous languages are disappearing, and to a large extent to the greater influence of international languages and, of course, modernization. You know, you and I are in the media. Talk to us about the importance of preserving the language, particularly in the media space, as an example.
And thank you very much for that question. You see, unfortunately, and I'm going to speak this as a young parent of two lovely daughters. A lot of our instruction is done in English. So in the next 20, 30 years, the native speakers of some of the languages, like which I would speak, for instance, will not be there. Or if they will be there, they will be scattered in very small places, because we are not providing an opportunity for us to express ourselves in those languages, vernacular and Swahili. Secondly, there is a very huge opportunity, especially when in the digital age. And I'm going to speak right now because Kenya, in the last few days, adopted a coding curriculum. That is going to enable us to start doing animations in our own languages so that we can make cartoons that are not just for education, but even for entertainment. If we are looking for a place where we're going to get jobs, I think if you look at the animation industry globally, is worth billions of dollars. And a lot of that is not being seen in Africa. A lot of our stories are told by others. They come here, they document them, then they go and tell the stories. We have a chance to tell the stories ourselves in our languages. And if the moment we use the technology that we have now, the preservation aspect comes in, because remember, a lot of our language and culture was passed on orally. You sit there with your grandmother, with your grandpa, they tell you stories. Nowadays, you rarely see them. In fact, you have no opportunity to interact. It's a very busy hustle life where every day you wake up to chase the shilling, and that opportunity is lost. The children are left to the nannies and the teachers, and for the importance of these people which we leave the kids with is purely either to take care of them or to inculcate education in them. And I think if we embrace Swahili, first of all, across Africa, it will be the first step for us to even then move into preserving our own local languages, because that is the biggest heritage that I believe that Africa has.
And I'm glad you mentioned and you gave an analogy about your daughters, because that's also something that, a lot of people are experiencing right here in South Africa. But you also mentioned Uganda and Kenya in as far as Swahili is concerned, and the interventions that those two countries are making in terms of preserving the language. In South Africa, the exact number of Swahili speakers is currently unknown. So just on the benefits of learning the language itself, especially since it's the official language of the African Union. I mean, of course, there's an incentive for so many of us to learn Swahili. So where do you think is the stumbling block? And what can countries like South Africa, as an example, that already have 11 official languages do in order to preserve this language, given just how widely spoken it is?
I think the first step that we did, and I'm going to use Kenya as an example, is previously we used to associate Kiswahili as the language of the people who are uneducated. So if you never went to school, you speak Swahili, because Swahili is for the people who were never educated, so they don't know English. And I think that first of all is the first step to decolonizing the mind. You are intelligent when you speak your mother tongue, not because you speak English or you are able to express yourself. And this is by no means demeaning English. It's very good to communicate globally, but we need, first of all, to get out of that space where or maybe even trying to make it look like it's a language of class. A lot of the Kenyans and other Africans who went to live in the United States or in the UK, when they come back, the one thing we know about them is that, first of all, they pretend not to know their mother tongue, they pretend not to know Kiswahili, and they adopt the accents of the places that they go to. And this is a mental issue that needs to be spoken to. And the beauty of this is that currently we can see it is working. One of the biggest examples that I think is really working, and especially for East Africa, for a very long time, we used to consume a lot of music, R&B from the US and reggae from Jamaica. But if you look at the Kenyan consumption trends right now, Tanzania is doing very well with their bongo, and it's lyrics in Swahili. And Diamond, just to speak of that one artist, right now in Eastern Central Africa is one of the biggest artists. And he has done that purely by putting his art in a language that we understand. And I believe that the moment, first of all, we take a step back from assuming that the fact that somebody speaks in English that makes them educated or brilliant is in itself, just to say the least, absolute rubbish. And for us now and for the generations that are coming, we need to embrace it, because we can teach engineering, we can teach architecture, we can teach medicine in our own local languages, because those opportunities are there. And for the places where we lack, we borrow, just like English does, just like French does, because where they don't have, they borrow or they create. And that is how languages grow, and that is how societies are able to keep their heritage, their culture, and who they are alive.
Munene Nyaga, thank you so much for talking to us today. Asante sana to you. Thank you so much.